And the other thing about love is that I've learned over the years, and maybe you can attest to this too, we can't expect someone to love us the way that we want them to love us. We have to allow people to find what works for them and be, open to that.
Hello and welcome to the Love Launch Podcast. This is Joey Chandler, and this is where we talk to experts and entertainers and entrepreneurs about what love means to them and how we can all have more of it. And today, I have the great honor of talking to a businesswoman, a fellow podcaster, and a comedian. I am so excited. I was on her podcast last couple weeks ago, and it was a totally amazing conversation. And when she told me about her comedy, I was like, oh, please come on. So Tiyauna White, thank you so much for coming here today. How are you?
I'm doing good. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, well, please, we're going to get into what love means to you, but just take a second, give us a little rundown of who you are.
Well, like he said, my name is Tiyauna White. I'm a believer. I'm a mom. I'm a comedian. I just recently started my own business, so I wear a couple of different hats. But I think the hat that I'm most proud of is being a mom, and the second one is making people laugh. So that's me. I'm in the business of making people laugh, making them feel better.
What is it that you love about making people laugh?
It's something that kind of started with me as a kid because I just don't like to see people sad or hurt. I want people to know that, there's things that are going on, that can make you feel that way. But there's also some, even in the midst of something difficult, we can laugh and smile about. You know what I mean? So
Absolutely.
that's something I've been doing since I was a little girl. I always got in trouble in school because I would run my mouth and be in a class clown.
Okay. And we're gonna get all into that. So please tell us what does love mean to you, especially as a mom, as a businesswoman, as a comedian? What does love mean to you?
Love means um being transparent with a person, loving them unconditionally. And to me, it's important for a person to love you right where you are, Um, that I'm not saying in the sense of just accepting bad behavior, but say, you know what, this is where they are. I can love them as best as I can in this chapter or this section, and being loyal. Love is really important to me. If I tell people all the time, if I had a choice between receiving $20 million, as much as I would love to have that money, I'd rather be loved by a genuine group of people. It's just something in me that it's just important. So love is unconditional for me. Love is loving people where they are, being transparent. So those are just some of the caps of what love means to me.
Got it. And how does love show up in your comedy?
Joey. Love shows up in my comedy because I speak about a lot of personal experiences that people might say, why would you laugh about that? But there's a genuineness there, a transparency that I try to demonstrate when I'm performing to show people, you know what? That day was a really rough day, but even in that, there I can laugh about it. There's some love there. I learned a lesson, and life went on. You know what I mean? And I do it at my expense because it's important for me to show people that a bad situation just doesn't stop there. Life doesn't stop there. And we're capable of moving on and still being loved as individuals and loving other people. So
Absolutely.
that's how it shows up for me.
And I think that's a powerful role that comedians play, and it's a wonderful thing.
Yeah.
But I also am reminded of Hannah Gatsby's work around Nanette, in which she says, like, look, I've been making fun of myself for 10 years,
Yeah.
and it actually is starting to hurt me.
Mm.
And I'm wondering how the idea of love, because obviously we want to love ourselves and we want to accept ourselves unconditionally. How did it, and if we're making fun of ourselves, I'm curious about that back and forth.
I've always done that. You know what I mean? And I think as a kid, I was kind of like the fat kid, not kind of, I was the fat kid. So in order to beat somebody to the punch, I would make jokes about my weight and stuff. Um, before they said it, so it wouldn't be hurtful to me. And I definitely use that as a defense mechanism. When I was doing, I guess, comedy then or being the class clown then. But as an adult, I definitely share experiences at my expense, but how I want to share them. Not in the sense of I'm taking away or take away from the soil or putting something else into it. But I let people know just as much as I want them to know. There are some personal things, that I haven't talked about, and there's some situations that involve other people, and I'm gonna respect them. I never when I do comedy and I'm talking about somebody, of course I don't use their name or something like that if I know that they're not comfortable with that. But I don't look at it like that now as something that hurts me. To me, when I do comedy, when I write, when I do Instagram videos, or when I have been on the stage, it's almost therapeutic. You know what I mean? It almost helps me to get over that situation because I kind of feel like the audience is a group of friends, and I'm just kind of, I guess, putting that on them, not in a negative way, but to say, "Hey, you know what? I've fallen down the stairs too." You know what I mean? When I was rushing to go get a burger or something. You know what I mean? So I can't say that that's been my experience where it's hurt me. It's actually therapeutic for me.
Oh, it's wonderful. And uh, and how has being a comedian bringing love in that way? How's that impacted your life in general?
I think because that when people, my friends and family have come to see me perform, I think I've exposed things about myself or my perception of a situation that maybe they didn't know about or didn't know that that's how I felt, and it's kinda opened the conversation. Um, I've done a couple of interviews, here lately, for people on different podcasts, and, jokingly, from a comedian's perspective, I've said different things that have happened to me, and I let my family listen to it, and they're like, "I didn't know." And it opens up conversations for me in our personal life because they'll say, "Okay, I didn't know that you interpreted it like that, and this is my interpretation." So, it's a healing process again for me. I can't speak for everybody, but it's been a healing process for me.
So are you feeling then more confident about yourself and putting yourself out there and
I
trusting yourself more? Is that
Absolutely. I stopped doing comedy, probably back in 2000, as far as being on stage, probably 2014, because I was in a relationship and I allowed that person's perception of what I was doing to diminish my craft, and I just stopped because I lost confidence because I thought uh, I wasn't funny. I thought that I was too abrasive. I thought that I, quote unquote, told too much of my personal life. And I stopped because I said, maybe that's not the right thing to do. You know what I mean? And I had to kind of work my way back. And here we are, 2022, and I've regained my confidence. I feel more confident as far as trying to find shows, to get on shows, to do shows. And I'll tell you one big boost that really helped me out recently. There's a comedy writer. Her name is Marina Schifrin. My mentor sent me an article of hers that she did in 2020 with, I think, Voyage LA. And she was talking about her relationship with comedy and how it goes up and down. It's a back and forth relationship. It's like a relationship in a marriage that you still have to cultivate. You still have to put into it. It's not something that you just have it and then there it goes. It has to grow. Sometimes we love it, sometimes we don't. And what I did was I wrote her email and did not expect anything to come of it, and I let her know. She really motivated me. She taught me in that article that comedy is not linear. So my idea of being on stage and being the next female Kevin Hart, it didn't, it hasn't manifested that. And maybe that's not my route, but that's okay. Maybe I can go this way and still get the same effects that I thought I wanted with that. I can become a writer. I can do, other skits and work for SNL, write for newspapers, different things. So what she taught me in that article is that the thing that you want, it might not come A, B, C, D, E. You might have A, you might have F, you might do Z. But as long as it happens, it doesn't matter how it happens. So I wrote her an email, long story short, and I just let her know, thinking I just need her to know how she impacted me. Yes, it was a 2-year-old article, whatever, but it impacted me. And she emailed me back. And, she was saying that, it's so good to know that the work that she does, the work that we do is impacting people. Because when you do uh comedy, it's like a void. Or when you do writing online, it's a void because we're putting it out, but I don't know if it's affecting anybody, unless somebody reaches out. So, um, the correspondence that she and I have had over the last couple of days has really like given me that boost of confidence. Like, okay, you know what? You could do this. Um, you know, don't look at, okay, I shoulda, coulda, woulda. There's a whole lot of things I could have done. You know what I mean? But let's do it now. Let's try it out. Let's give it a go. You know what I mean? And that's really what's kind of boosted my confidence to be able to do it again, hopefully in the near future.
Oh, that's wonderful. There's so much there. There's a couple things. One, like one, loving your voyage,
Mm.
wherever your, whatever your voyage is, loving
You know,
where you're at. And it's very much like what you said with love, of just kind of being transparent and accepting the person, in this case, the voyage for where it's at, rather than judging and assessing and all that sort of thing, which, I know I've done a ton. and and also the power of letting someone know that they've made a difference for you.
yeah, that's
And let
important for me.
and and I can think of this sometimes, like, sometimes we feel, I don't know, guilty, or like, I don't want to be a burden on them, or let them know, but taking
Yeah,
that time to just say, "Hey, that thing that you wrote, I don't know what you meant by it exactly, but this is what it meant to me.
yeah.
And I just want to thank you for that." Like, that is a huge gift.
Yeah, yeah. I think we all should do that. I tried to teach my daughter that even if it's something small, Joey. My grandmother had sent me something to our house. She lives in Maryland, we're in Georgia. And just something simple as sending, I'm sorry, that's the thunder in Georgia. Just something simple as sending a thank you card, you know, or sending a text because I really pride myself on doing that because there was a point where I was super depressed and there were days when I didn't want to get out of bed, when I didn't want to get up, and somebody may have sent a video or somebody may have called or things like that. I think it's important, especially with our society, to let people know that they matter. And that's how I express love. I might not always be able to buy something or show up physically, but one thing you can say if you're in my circle, I send a text. I'll call, hey, I only got a minute. Just want to let you know, love you. Hope you're doing good. Talk to you later. Bye. Something like that. And I think it's important that we do that and find our way that we are able to express love. My way might not be your way, but we have to find our way as individuals. It's imperative, Joy. You have to. I don't know how people say, and I don't want to go to the left, but I don't know how people say, well, I don't express love. I don't know how they do it. I don't know how they cope. Because even as my grandmother would say, even a dog wants to be pet. So I don't know how people do it. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, and my sense is that we all express love, and the research that I'm doing is that love is pretty key and core to us.
it is.
The And it shows up in different ways, but I do think our society gets in the way of people talking about love
We
and
do.
expressing love. And that's something that we're trying to do here on the podcast, is just have people think like, "Hey, what does love mean to me? Like, how do I show love?" Like, by sending a note. And I also think that talking about it is so important.
It is. I learned that from you, not to cut you off. I learned that from you when you came on my show. And I meant to tell you this because it really changed my thought process. We have to be able to speak those things because you right now, we can call somebody between you and I and say, hey, what does love mean to you? Oh, well, I love you. No, what does it mean to you? And what you taught me is that the reason why we can't answer some of these basic questions is because we don't articulate. We don't express it verbally. And so it's important, you know what I mean? And the other thing about love is that I've learned over the years, and maybe you can attest to this too, we can't expect someone to love us the way that we want them to love us. We have to allow people to find what works for them and be open to that. You know what I mean? You might not, be a texter. That doesn't mean you don't love me. You might be more of a I want to pick up the phone or I want to come over. And I have to say, you know what, that's how Joey expresses. And I'm okay with that. That doesn't cross the boundary that I have. You know what I mean? So we have to also be receptive to it.
Yes, absolutely. And again, that's where the conversation, I think, is so important.
Yeah.
The one, So it sounds like you have gone, let's just say there's some ups and downs in your journey as a comedian. And
Yes,
as I'm sure as a mom and as a
yes,
businesswoman, there's a variety of ways, but I'd love to focus on the comedian because so many people think about getting up on stage and so many people have an idea of being a performer, whether it be a
yes,
musician or an actor or a speaker, whatever that is.
yes.
And can you tell us some times when you had to make a choice and when you had to bring some courage to take a step forward and how maybe loving yourself or loving other people helped you in that journey?
Yeah, when I wanna let me touch on this. Comedy is, it's a up and down, and I will say some other comedians might attest to this. Comedians are some of the most introverted, uh prone to depression people that you'll probably meet. And I know people will say, "Oh no, that's not possible," but we are. I'm still thinking about it. I don't know why that is, but in the comedy community, I could talk to anybody and it's always like a tug of war somewhere inside of us. So that's something that we definitely deal with. But the fact of just anybody getting up on stage, I don't care if you're new to it, you've been doing it for 40 years. It's always that um, thought of, am I good enough? And I think anybody who does comedy, specifically on stage, they'll say they experienced that. And I'm gonna be honest, Joey, if you don't experience that, maybe you should look into something else. And I know somebody might say, well, why? Because it's a gift. Everybody doesn't have it. Everybody thinks, "Oh, I'm funny between, my friends and my coworkers and my family." To me, being a true comedian is a gift. You know you know what I mean? And
I'm on the call. Get out of here.
I love it. I love it. This is perfect.
Oh, to everybody listening on the podcast, today we've had it with just like people keep
Yeah,
coming in. It's like we got
right, and it's
hecklers.
so funny. It's supposed to happen, right,
Right, these are my hecklers. Uh,
right. It's yeah, you're heckling, exactly.
well, so let me ask you, how do you deal with it? Do you get hecklers?
Oh, me personally, I haven't. I have not experienced that. But friends. I've had friends. Um, my closest friend, his name is Freddie Ramirez. He's the comedian in a wheelchair. And I've had it happen. He's had it happen. Some of the greats around DC, the Washington DC area where I was doing comedy, have had it happen. And you have to be quick on your feet, obviously. And hecklers kind of, I hate to say this, they are make or break. It it can really that's for somebody that just started or for somebody that's been doing it a long time. If you can't keep up and stay on your feet, you will lose confidence on that stage. And it's almost immediate. You can see it. You know what I mean? And there's no let me put a sheet over my head and just walk off stage. It you can see it. It's visible. So you have to be confident. You have to know what you're doing and you have to say, you know what? I'm in the throes of this. It's either gonna be make or break. Um and when those things happen, it in a situation where you're able to recoup yourself from that, it's still you go home and you think, why? You know what I mean? What did I say? Well, what made them think it was okay to do that? You know what I mean? And you gotta remember hecklers are normally the drunk men or women and they've had too many to drink and they think they're funny, you know what I mean? So they want to combat you, but it does poke at your confidence, you know what I mean? It definitely does.
Do you have to bring love to the hecklers in some sense?
I think when I think I've never experienced it, but I think when Freddie told me it happened to him, because we were kind of newbies, he got irritated and frustrated and, but he was able to recoup. And I think at that moment for him, it wasn't a love thing. It was almost like, hey, you're getting ready to embarrass me. I'm new to this. Give me a break. You know what I mean? So I personally can't speak from it, but I'm sure that I've seen more seasoned comedians do it and they just flow right with it. And they just try to bring it love as best as they can, and move on. You know what I mean? So
What would be an interesting idea for all of us that have things that don't go well, people interrupting podcasts,
yeah, yeah.
the interrupts that we get in life, right? Like
Right.
as
Right.
hecklers and trying to bring love to them and use their energy to move
Yeah.
forward as opposed to, what often happens, we get shut down and angry or frustrated or whatever that is.
Yes. 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 I think there's in every situation, maybe not sometimes when we're going right through it, you can find the love in it. You have to. You know what I mean? You have to find the lesson, you have to find the love, and you just have to find a way to be a better person through it, when you're in it, through it, and when you come out of it. Because I believe, Joey, that everything that happens to us is not for us. It's not to hurt us, to tear us down, but to be able to share and give that love to somebody else. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
There's things in you that somebody needs. You know, maybe you didn't want to go through A, B, C, D, and have to, go through the hurt and the pain. But guess what? You went through that so that you can share with me. You know what, Tiana, I see you kind of going this way. Let me give you a suggestion, and that's love. You know what I mean? If you didn't care, it would, that's not love. So I think we go through things to share our love with other people in different ways.
I love that. That's such a great way to look at it because I often say that love or any purpose is about yourself and others. And so you could think it, I know I'm thinking about that all the time that you go through a frustration, things aren't working. You
Yeah.
feel very alone. You
If you
feel very like I suck. There's something wrong with me. It won't
Yeah,
work out for me. It's very, me focused. And all those thoughts, those doubts and fears and worries come screaming through your head.
yeah,
And but if you had the voice of like this thing that I'm struggling with, whatever it is for me to learn and then for me to pass the solution on to someone else, to share that my journey with someone else, it instantly creates a kind of a here in the future. It gives you a path,
it does.
a reason for that pain, and it creates a community. It's you and that person that you're going to share with, even though you don't know who that person is.
Mhm. Yeah,
That's really powerful. Thank you for that.
yeah.
Awesome. Well, we could go on, and I would love to hear more about your comedy, but we could talk
We could talk all day,
we could
right.
talk all day. It's so beautiful. I just want to say props for you for getting back up there and working through stuff. It's
Yeah.
really really awesome. Let's see. So the questions I always ask people at the end: what is a book, a movie, a song that just kind of inspires love and romance for you?
Okay, I'll say a song. And I'm a music fanatic, and picking a song is like saying, "Which child do you love more?" I can't. But, there's a current song that I've been listening to. It's by Adele, and it's called "My Little Love." And the song, is slow tempo, but it's about her son. She actually has inserts or excerpts of him on the song. I guess he's, maybe 3 or 4. But it talks about, how as mothers, we want the best for our kids, and, it doesn't always happen like that. We have this picture idea of what life should be, mom, dad, get married, kid, everything's perfect. And it didn't happen for her. And it doesn't happen for a lot of people. And it's really a good love song to me. It really touches on a lot of different things. And I listen to it because I have a 15-year-old. I'm gonna wrap it up. I have a 15-year-old, and she's my first. And I don't know everything, and I try to let her know that mom doesn't know everything. Just like you're going through this process, I'm going through this process. There's no book that say, hey, she's 15. This is what's gonna happen, A, B, C, D. And I make mistakes, and I try to share that with my daughter. So that song really embodies love for me right now. That's a song that embodies that.
Oh, it's wonderful. Have you seen the Adele's her special on I think it's Hulu?
I haven't. I'm going to watch it.
You know what? I I loved it, and for a reason I really didn't expect is that she sings songs, but she also brings people up on stage, or they
Mhm.
from the audience, they ask her questions.
Oh, that's
And
cool.
it's really cool. Like I was just expecting Adele singing, which is incredible, and it would
Yeah,
awesome in
exactly.
many many different ways. But she, just like you said on her song, it sounds like she people, they pulled people, very famous people,
Yeah,
uh, from the stage, and there's a couple just conversations that she has with people that are so incredible
I
of
know
the
that.
difference
Yeah,
that she made for them and they made for her
yeah.
was really, really interesting, and it made the special as opposed to
Right,
just another
right.
famous
It's
singer.
singing. Yeah,
And again, Adele singing would be amazing by itself.
right. It is. Yeah.
That's great. And who, if there was someone that you could ask this question to, what does love mean to you? Who would that be?
It would be my great grandmother. She passed away maybe 10 years ago. Her name was Lavinia Bullock. She helped raise me. I would want to know, as a woman now, I'm a mom, I would want to know what her interpretation of love would be. I really would, because she put a lot of things in my grandmother that my grandmother passed down to my mom and my aunts, and we're a really loving family, even with all the craziness we have going on. But I really, as a woman, as a mom, I would want to know her interpretation, because I she made some sacrifices, and I really want to know her thoughts on it.
Yeah, I just you're not the first person to mention a grandmother or
Yeah,
really
yeah,
a relative, and it makes me think it's a conversation that maybe we ought to have with our parents and grandparents. Like,
that's
what
true.
does love mean to you?
Yeah,
Just so that we actually could know, 'cause they probably would have something interesting to say.
right. And you know what? I'll pose this question too, or just this thought. We got to remember we are the new ancestors. So at some point, we're going to go on and pass on, and we have to, whatever knowledge, love, thoughts we have to be willing to put that into the generations behind us. So we are the new ancestors, and we want to make sure that our legacy is not perfect, but that we're giving our children, grandchildren, the tools to be, successful people, not just from the sake of money or a career, but a whole person. So we got to remember that.
Yeah, that's a great line, "The new
Yeah.
ancestors." That's like a band or
Yeah,
something.
yeah.
Yeah,
Isn't that cute? Yeah,
it's
yeah,
totally great.
yeah.
Yeah, and before we go to the last question, how can people get in touch with you? How can they find you? Can see some of your shows?
Okay. I'm on Instagram and on Facebook under Unpack, like unpacking a box, Unpacked Energy. I'm on Instagram a little bit more than Facebook, but they can message me there. I'm really engaging with comments and talking to people. I have an email, unpackedenergy@gmail.com. My podcast, I'm on Zoom. I'm on Zoom, really. Um, I'm on Apple, Google, Spotify. The podcast is Unpacked Energy. Come on, reach out to me. I love to talk, run my mouth, so we can talk, message all day, all night. I only sleep 4 hours, so don't judge me. But I just love to run my mouth. So feel free to reach out. And if you need a hug, I'll give you a virtual hug.
Oh, awesome, and if anything that Tiana said, please let her know.
Yeah,
Let her know that because she wants to know, it should be beautiful.
yeah.
And then lastly, I always ask people, what is it that you got out of this conversation that you're taking away?
I got out of this conversation that as of any time that you and I talk, we have to learn how to express and articulate our thoughts so that we don't get bombarded with questions and we don't really know how to explain it. And what I love about you is that you ask thought provoking questions that you can't. It's not a yes or no, and it's not a right or a wrong when you ask your question. And I love that it's not you don't ask questions that make people feel like I have to do it a certain way. I like the question, your questions are personable. So I've learned basically to ask thought provoking questions when I talk to people. You know what I mean? Whether it's on a podcast or just talking to people in general, a straight on the street. Maybe we're sitting next to each other. Just, ask thought provoking questions to get to know a person and to also to be open to different ideas, different concepts of doing things. So that's what I got from the show today.
Oh,
And
that's
I'm so
beautiful.
glad you had me on. This was so great.
That's great. And what I'm taking away is that idea of us going through struggles so that we can share that journey with someone else,
Yes.
to keep that in mind as opposed to the "I suck."
Yeah, exactly. Or with feeling guilty because you went through something. No, share it with somebody because
Yeah.
somebody needs to know. Yeah.
Somebody needs to know. That is beautiful. Well, I think that's wonderful. I just want to thank you so much, for coming on. This has been great. Any last words?
Nope. I thank you for having me, Joy. Your family now. So I think Joey and I will be seeing each other again, guys. I hope you guys can see this video because we had a good time.
It's great. Well, thank you. And
Yeah.
for everybody, please, keep this in mind. Think about, what does love mean to you? Because I think by asking that question, you can start to figure out how you can have more of it and how you can help other people have more of it. And to me, that's about creating love in your life. And that's the goal of the Love Launch podcast. So thank you. If you have questions, leave comments, thoughts, whatever you can. We'd love to help you out. And we'll see you next time on the Love Launch podcast. Bye.
Bye bye.